So how to make the transition to college? If a student can come and really understand for themselves, these are the things I know about myself that I do well. So often we have students one of two ways. Seldom do we see students that have a true sense of a realistic sense of self. Often it's their estimation of their abilities is overinflated. And perhaps it's because the way that we have tried to encourage them. I want to talk about the way that we provide that encouragement. We have what we call external motivation and internal motivation. External motivation is so often what we see in our students. That they've had all their life people around them that have said, nice job, good, you did that great. Whether they did or not. You did a good job, way to go. Keep going, do that. We recognize in our students when we see them coming to us that they are so tuned in to needing people to tell them when they're doing a good job that they have no clue how to tell that for themselves. We had a student that was taking a bowling class for a PE class, and we had a mentor that went with him to class and helps him get acclimated to the class. He would roll the ball down, and he could not pick the next ball up and do another until that mentor told him whether it was good or not. And again, we work ourselves out of a job. We don't do that. And so he stood there and stood there and stood there. He was frozen in time because I can't do anything unless people are telling me if I'm doing it good or not. That's external motivation. Now, all of us like a little pat on the back once in a while. That's fine. And I'm talking, that part's okay. But when it is the only thing that we're doing, then how do they ever take that internally? And they're learning to do things for themselves because it feels good inside of me. I know I'm doing a good job. So we don't give praise, at least not right off the bat. Student comes in and they'll talk to us about, this is something that they just did, wanting us to say, yes, way to go, good job. Instead, we say, how do you think you did? What does that feel inside? What are you feeling inside? Because what we're raising is self-awareness, which is one of the 9 skills of self-determination. Raising that self-awareness. Tell me what you feel inside. Does it feel good to you? If it does, then you know you're on the right track. You're doing something right. In time, they get to where they'll come in and tell me, this is what I did, and this is the result that I got, and I feel proud of myself. That's self-efficacy, and that's truth. That is a true sense of self. But boy, is that hard, and so I challenge you. Reconsider how you're giving praise. Think about what is the end result. Do they really know for themselves, or are they going to need you the rest of their lives to tell them when they're doing it right or when they're not? Again, I don't know how to be any more direct. I just throw it out there. So often our students, it is a bit of a process to teach them the correct way and timing of asking for help. When they first start as a freshman, we know they're coming in and it's going to take them a while. We have so much to learn. But we have such awesome things in place to help. But it takes a process for them to start to think for themselves, to start to problem solve, come up with ideas on how to fix your problem or whatever it is that you're wanting to change, to take the initiative to start trying something. And we have that process. And about the 4th, 5th week into the first semester of a freshman year, we implement the rule, You try 3 things before you just automatically ask for help. Now, it's a process. It takes time. But again, we're working ourselves out of a job. So often the first thing student says, I don't know what's the answer. Will you do this for me? And we always say, what did you try before you came to me? 3 things before me. What that is helping them to do is to start to think for themselves. It's starting to build up in their bank, their mental bank of, these are the things that I've done before and they worked for me. And we're starting to create that bank that we can reach in and pull out strategies. And in the next 4 years, we start building that bank of strategies up so that they can become better choice makers and decision makers and goal setters and goal attainers. There's a reason why the resource word is highlighted, because that is so important to know what a resource is, how to find those resources, how to use those resources, how to speak to those resources. And that is a word that those students probably hear every class, every day, throughout the day, in every situation, is this is what you want to do. How do you do that? What are your resources? Getting them good to use it. And so here's all these ideas. If we could start these clear back, not even during the transition years, we need to start clear back into early elementary, if not before, to start thinking, what am I doing now that helps my student to better transition down the road, disability or no. SAS, Student Accessibility Services. They're about finding out if the student is qualified. 2 steps when you go to college. You have to take your make an appointment and take your documentation to the Student Accessibility Services office. They will examine it and make the determination of what accommodations. Help your student understand the difference between accommodations and modifications, because as an adult, they're going to have to ask for accommodations and modifications. And they need to know what it is, when do you ask for it, what resources to tap into to help them get those accommodations and modifications. It should not be a student sitting in their IEP meetings and not be able to speak to this. So parents, I challenge you to start bringing your student into, and teachers, bring that student into their IEP in a stronger and stronger way. I hate person-centered planning meetings. I've been in a lot of them. But that's a big thing here, person-centered planning, all over the place. The importance of person-centered planning. I see the value of it, but I hate how they're done because, again, so often the ones that I was involved in, it was the students sitting there for a long, terrible time with no understanding, very little understanding of what to say or speak for. And man, this is, the whole idea is, what do you want to do in your life and how do we help you plan for it? And they have very little input. We have to do person-centered planning. It's part of what we said to at the federal level that allows our non-degree program, our students, to still apply for financial aid. We had to say that we were going to do person-centered planning meetings. And I'm like, we're done doing them the old way. What we do now is all year long, while the student's taking classes, involved in social activities, whatever the student is doing, we're capturing, they are capturing those moments. And right now, they are creating their person-centered planning PowerPoints. And on May 6th, a Saturday, they will present their PowerPoint to their parent, and they will speak for 90 minutes in front of their families and their supports. This is who I am. This is what I'm learning. This is my short-term goals, my long-term goals for academic, for independent living, for community inclusion, and employment. Powerful, powerful, powerful. But you have to capture it in the moment. You can't wait to the end of the year and say, okay, tell me what you did. Because our students, especially the students that we work with, the intellectual and developmental disability students that could not get into college through traditional doors, cannot pass ACT entrance exams, do not have diplomas. They can still come to college through our doors. We can't expect them to think about it all year long and that now write it down. It's capturing it in the moment. Boy, teachers, parents, if you can help your student throughout their school year capture things in the moment so that when the time comes they can make their own personal centered planning PowerPoint and present it to you, you're onto something. I would guess SSTs in the adult service providers, I would think that would be pretty powerful if you had someone come to you to say, this is me. These are my short-term and my long-term goals, and this is what I've prepared for. And you could say, okay, I know what you want, and we can work with you and move you forward.